Welcome to 21 Days of Sage Intacct for a New You, presented by LBMC Technology Solutions. Because it takes 21 days to make or break a habit, over the next 3 weeks, we'll empower you to reimagine the way that you work by providing 21 days of great tips to make a better you in Sage Intacct. Let's get started. The new you in Sage Intacct starts today. Day 9, Transaction Definitions Explained, a short explanation of transaction definitions and their role in Sage Intacct. So I'd like to share what Sage Intacct defines a transaction definition as. So it includes the accounting rules, the workflow settings, the security settings, and other characteristics for transactions. So it defines how you are processing your transactions, and this is customized to every company. So it doesn't just come out of the box already configured for you. You get to configure it as to how you transact with your different transactions. So a great example is actually subcontracts and how they get converted into subcontract invoices. So we'll just take a look at the subcontract transaction definition so you can see the different properties. Do you want to enable change management against a subcontract? You could have that turned on or off. And so those purchasing transaction definitions, all of these here, are defined by a transaction definition that is being set up for you so that you can transact the way that you do. And there are transaction definitions in purchasing as well as order entry, which affects accounts receivable. So you can set up a transaction definition for a sales order or a work order, those kinds of things on the AR side of things. So back to this transaction definitions, you can see that, are you going to use inventory with this because it's on the purchasing side? Do you want the user to be able to override different dimensions that you have aligned with this? Do you want to enable retainage to be on a subcontract? Obviously, some companies do, some companies don't. And this particular one has it enabled. And then the workflow, you can create a transaction from another transaction. So that means you can convert a subcontract into a subcontractor invoice inside of Intacct. And that workflow is what controls that transaction. And then, do you want a printed document to be able to print a transaction definition in a certain way? So you want a subcontract with your terms. You can define what that printed document looks like. And then you can have these other areas on a subcontract, for example, enabled. So you can put the scope in there, the schedule, the initial internal reference, external reference, and then do you want the bond area on a subcontract to be live? So in a construction environment, you have these extra capabilities of expanding a subcontract to include more general fields. And then up here on the top for the posting configuration, this is actually how it hits a general ledger or a subledger of information. So this is actually has to do with the accounting workflow. So you can tell it to, when a subcontract invoice is applied to a subcontract, I want you to put it to accounts payable. And the other side of that journal entry happens to be cost of goods sold. So you can see that here. So it's an offset to accounts payable. And this gets configured however you need it to get it configured. So it's posted on how you need to transact with it. And then you do have security configuration where you could allow everybody to edit or only certain groups to edit a subcontract, those kind of things. And so you can also enable permissions for specific users or groups. So when you're looking at the transaction definitions, these are customized to each company. And you'll notice that purchase orders are in here, change orders are in here. We also have some field operations in here. So this actually has to do with Sage field operations. And so you can just, notice that there's 18 of them in this particular sample environment. However, they could be limitless as to how you're operating. And the same is true for order entry. So if we look at the transaction definitions on the AR side, this is where like your owner contracts are or your progress billings. That's where these transaction definitions get set up. And they're set up much the same way as in purchasing is defined the posting as well as the document that you can convert it from, as well as setting up a printed document template. So that's transaction definitions in a shortened definition. Thank you for joining us today on our presentation of 21 Days to a New You in Sage Intacct. If you want to talk to an expert, here's our contact information. We look forward to hearing from you.